ask Shefalika to share. So Shefalika, I've known for many years. She's part of the SCVP, Variety and Jane School that we attend. And about 2 years ago, we were chatting, I was saying, I'm doing some talks, well, a happiness coach now, and doing some talks at Shishakunj and a few other areas. And she came to some of those talks and we chatted a little bit. And Shefalika, can I say where you work and your role and all that, Shefalika?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, so Shefalika works for Xerox, so Fortune 500 company. So one of like the FTSE kind of companies here, everyone knows Xerox, the copier company. She is in the accounts department, so the group accounts. She's basically the head of that accounting group for a number of areas. So the people who report to her are CFOs of other countries, like India, like Turkey. So she's got, I think, a dozen or so.
16 countries.
Yeah, CFOs who are looking after those countries for that particular division, reporting to her. So big responsibility, a big role and effort. And one of the things that really has helped Shefalika succeed in this is her people skills. So she's a leader who's really focused on the people aspect. But the other thing you also know, so I've mentioned she's a volunteer at SCVP, Variety and Jane School, and probably I think a few other places. She's a mother, a wife, obviously extended family as well, so involved with that, and involved with this demanding job as well. So like many of us, a variety of hats being put on and worked with. So Shefalika, would you like to share a little bit about your story and journey and how the journal and gratitude in particular have helped you?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit nervous because this is very personal. So having to share something so personal is quite nerve-wracking. But I think Shailen really helped me. And he kind of saw that he came and asked me at Jane School one evening and said, "Are you okay?" And I'd just taken this new job where I went from managing one person to 110, and not one person was based in the UK, and it was tough, and I was really drowning. And he kind of saw that and picked up on it, and he introduced me to the gratitude journal. And initially I was like, I don't have time for this. In another 5-10 minutes in my day, how am I going to do this? And he kept sending me WhatsApps, which were really irritating, but he was like, have you done one yet? Have you done it? I'm like, okay. And so I was like, right, I'm going to start this. Let's see what's in this. And so I started about 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago now. And I'm just going to break it down a little bit into kind of how I found it. So the first thing, which is a bit about what am I grateful for, initially is very easy because you think, okay, I've got my family, I've got my friends, I've got my house, it's very, very easy. After a while, it becomes quite hard because you don't want to keep repeating. And that's when you really need to start to say, what am I really grateful for? What, if it was taken away tomorrow, what would I really feel? What would I not have? Okay, and that's when the real thought starts to come in. So at the moment, it's interesting because it's under lockdown, it's completely changed. I'm actually grateful for the Couch to 5K app because I'm finally learning to run, which I would never thought I could have done before. So it's interesting how when you look back on the diaries, you'll see how your life has been changing. So that's one thing. The other thing I should mention is I do it first thing in the morning. I tend to do it when I come out the shower before I leave my bedroom. I'm like, just do that before you leave. So it is a very good habit to get into in the morning. The second bit about what would make today great. Now, that's really quite important because when you start thinking about that, you start to recognize what makes you happy in your life. And once you start to do that, and it also starts to make you realize about what you're feeling. So I suddenly started realizing I was writing what would make today great would be to relax. And I was thinking, why am I writing this all the time when I'm at home? And it made me realize I had the underlying worry all the time during this COVID. So it does kind of bring things out. And little things, like it made me realize how much I like music. And so I just got Spotify and I created playlists. Now, I'm an accountant, I'm not that imaginative, so my playlists are called happy, they're called sad, but you know, I know what they are and they work for me. So it does make you start to realize little things like that. And then the daily affirmations, I was a little bit confused at the beginning. I thought I had to do a different one every day, which is quite hard. And then Shaylin explained to me, no, you don't need to do that. So now I sort of put something in for 6 months. Now, I've always been someone who's like, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to lose weight. So initially I started writing, I want to lose weight. But I thought, you know what, that's not such a good affirmation. So I've changed that now to be, I want to be healthy and fit. So it is interesting how, you know, you start to think about this, you start to think about yourself and actually how would you feel? And then the thing I found the hardest, the really hardest one was the one you did in the evening, which was the 3 amazing things that happened today. So when I started, I would sit there and I'd look at it and I couldn't think of a single thing. And I would just think of everything that had gone wrong in the day. And I would just think, oh, well, that didn't work, or that didn't work, or that didn't work, oh, that was bad. And then I was like, and I literally would sit there and just blank. And it took time. And then slowly I started to think, oh, that was amazing today, or that was good. And really little things can be amazing. Like you just driving to work and you see the sun coming up and it's just beautiful. And you start to recognize that you have all of these amazing things in your life. And it is really important, I'd say, to think about that section, because that will, it's not something that happens overnight and you don't even realize it's happening, but it starts to change how you actually think and how you respond to things. And it takes time, okay? And the thing about how could I have made today even better, that's quite important as well, because again, that's thinking about what can I have done differently, and then you start to try and do that as you go forward. Now, I will be honest, after about 6-7 months, I stopped using no, I think after about a year, I stopped using the gratitude journal because I was like, oh, I'm fine now. Yeah, everything's great. And I realized, and I didn't use it for about 6 months. And I realized at the end of that 6 months that I was slowly becoming more and more negative again. So I think it is something that you should kind of keep doing. Couple of other things in terms of how has it actually helped me in terms of personal and work life, okay? So on the personal side, I guess I didn't really realize what it was doing until other people started commenting. So people started saying things like, oh, you're just so much more positive. You're always seeing the good side of things. And I hadn't really realized it. And so that's one comment. And other things like, I would speak to friends and someone might be saying, oh, this person did this, and then they did this, and they were complaining. And I would just listen and I would go, maybe they were just tired. Maybe they just had an off day. And people are like, no. And I'm like, you know, sometimes there's nothing sinister. People are not nasty. And sometimes people thought I was a little bit mad because I was being like that, but I was like, well, maybe that's what it is. So it started to change me that way. And then at work, it's been actually crucial. So like I said, I manage a lot of people, but not one person is in the UK. So that brings its own challenges. And when I went into this role, my manager was not in the UK either. So I was quite isolated. And my role is to problem solve. So everyone dumps their problems on me and they expect me to fix them. And it can get you really down. And what I'd say is the gratitude journal, and I do other things with it, but it is a big part of it. It helps you just have a different mindset and you don't allow yourself to get down. I mean, obviously now and again it happens. I mean, no one is perfect, but it does change it. And what I've also done is like Shaylin has actually come to a couple of our conferences and spoken to my staff. And I just think it's a really, really important thing. And the gratitude journal, it does work, but you also have to commit to it. Okay, I mean, if you just write in anything, I'd say it doesn't work, but it does work if you think about it, allow the time and build a habit.